Hello, Potomac Crossing Ward. It's Come Follow Me 2020 Book of Mormon Lesson 36, I think. Yeah, 36. We're doing 3rd Nephi 1 through 7. Gonna have some general comments on 1 through 7 and then some general comments on 1 through 4. So general comments on 3rd Nephi 1 through 7. The text of these chapters is historically linear and straightforward in presentation. The intent is to explain what was happening to the Nephite and Lamanite populations in the run-up to the events of chapter 8, thus explaining why the death and destruction is so pervasive. In other cases of catastrophic destruction captured in the scriptures, there isn't really much explanation as to why the populations had to suffer the consequences. It's simply implied that they were wicked or they were getting what they deserved. Here, it's spelled out in tragic detail. There is no question these people were wicked, murderous, and deserved destruction. Another theological message of these chapters is that miracles do not substantially convert non-believers, no matter how overwhelming or extraordinary. So this is following the message of 1 Kings 19, 11 and 12, which is the interview between the Lord and Elijah after Elijah tries to institute a coup by performing overwhelming miracles. And the Lord comes to him in the cave and says the Lord was not in the whirlwind or the earthquake or the fire. The Lord was in the still small voice. The message there is that people are simply not converted by these huge miracles. The more incredible the miracle is, the longer the effect seems to have, but even with the light at night event of chapter 1, it only results in a few years of penitent behavior with a quick return to wickedness by chapter 2. A second theological message reinforced in these chapters, and also seen in the preceding books of Alma and Helaman, are that wealth and power corrupt people and take down societies. Political ambition at any cost and organized crime are the result, and they tear civil society apart. However, throughout all of the lows seen in the present text, faithful people persist regardless and are protected by the Lord. Bad things do still happen to them, but they survive when the wicked do not. Okay, in general comments on 3rd Nephi 1 through 4. Okay, it's safe to assume the events of these chapters center on the Nephite capital of Zarahemla. We are told explicitly in 3:23 that all the people gather to Zarahemla. Prior to that, the location is not explicitly identified. However, we are informed the land of Nephi's nativity is Zarahemla in Helaman chapter 7, verse 1 through 3, and his permanent residence is there as well, we learn in Helaman chapter 7:10. We're told that Samuel preached to the people of Zarahemla in Helaman 13:2, and that Nephi was in that same city receiving those who believed Samuel's testimony. We see that in Helaman 16:1 through 5. All these things suggest the setting for these chapters is Zarahemla. Now, this is important because Zarahemla is the political capital of the Nephites. As such, when we have passages talking about the general condition of the Nephites, we can assume it applies to the entire Nephite population and not just some local smaller population. There were numerous small populations of apostate Nephites, for example, the Zoramites and the people of Ammonihah, but that isn't what Mormon is talking about here. He is commenting on Zarahemla, and that reflects on the Nephite population in general. That pretty much wraps it up for these chapters. The rest of the text is pretty straightforward. And regarding the light at night, on the last lesson I commented on the Carrington event. So if you haven't watched the video for the last chapter about Samuel's prediction, there I referred you to the Carrington event, which was a massive solar flare, a coronal mass ejection that lit up the night sky so that people thought it was daytime. And this is similar to an aurora borealis, but it is on a massive scale, so massive that it makes it look like it's daytime. So if you want to look that up, take a look at or Google search Carrington event, and you'll see lots of YouTube videos and Wikipedia and lots of other web pages talking about the Carrington event, where it looked like daytime at night. Okay, and that wraps it up for this week.